Ooh, not bad for your first break. See, it gets a little bit easier once you get the hang of it. Although you didn't pocket any of the balls, that was still a really good break. Ah, hey friends! Hi everybody, it's Dr. Detroit here, the doctor is in. I was just showing Mr. Foxy how to play pool. You guys join us at something really special. And when I say that this is special, this is humongously special. Did you guys know that we have now made over 40 episodes of Vrchat 101? That is just mind-blowing to me. And you know what? A lot of you have been here since day one, and some of you have also started watching from like different episodes. We've covered a lot of topics over the years, as well as also over the times that we've been doing this. We showed you how to handle being canceled when you're innocent. We also told you that it's okay to cry. We also showed you a little bit about Phantom Sense and everything. But you know what? I think I have an idea. For this special episode of Vrchat 101, what if I showed you how an episode of Vrchat 101 comes to be? Because see, you guys only get to see the finished product, but you guys never get to see the behind the scenes. Sort of like all the setup and all the pacing and stuff like that. And I know that you guys out there probably loved picking up your DVDs and putting in the bonus features to see like, how it's made, or, behind the scenes, or behind the whatever. So you know what? This episode is going to be exactly that, in a little segment I like to call How It's Made Vrchat 101 Edition. Cool title. So, here's episode 40, and here's to 40 more episodes of Vrchat 101. That is if we have enough topics to go around. Roll the intro! So a lot of episodes of Vrchat 101 come from a singular idea, usually something that I want to talk about. And it's always, it's always a lot of fun to research the topics and other things. Now some of the topics I know pretty well, but it's always good to have a little extra research. In fact, that's one of the biggest things that we do here before we even put up an episode of Vrchat 101, and that is we do our research. Because you know what, even if you know what the idea or topic is going to be, it's always good to have a little bit of backup for you. And not only that too, but sometimes some subjects are researched well in advance. Sometimes it could take about a week, sometimes it could take a few days, other times it could take a few months just to get something up there, especially if it's something controversial. In fact, the episode where we talked about being canceled while you were innocent took 2 months to complete because, well, I was a little bit skeptical at first on if it was going to be well received. But a lot of people actually enjoyed that topic. And so, it depends on the topic itself. Phantom Sense took a while to do. Anger management, that came fairly quickly. And the other thing too is that, we always love to open the videos with, a nice little skit or something like that. And somebody actually asked me, why is it that, in every single episode, I'm doing something, I'm busy, and then I look over here and I go, oh, it's you! Well, there's a good reason behind it. You see, Myself and my little brother Arlo, we grew up watching a lot of different children's shows where the main protagonist of the show, or the show's host itself, would be doing something, he'd look up or she'd look up and go, "Oh, I didn't see you there." And it was always pretty cool because then you know what? It was like, "Oh, they didn't, they had their nose in their business, so now they get to see us," which is, totally cool. So that's where it starts. Then, once we have enough material, and once we feel like that we can actually get this off the ground, then it's time to shoot the thing. Now we move into the filming procedures. Now, filming an episode of Vrchat 101 is rather interesting, because this is where it takes the longest. Now, usually, we start the episode right here in my living room here on level 3 of my house. And as you can see behind me, this here is the television screen that you guys have seen many different things pop up on. Sometimes what I will do is that I will pause it on certain things or play certain videos in the background that pertain to the subject that we're working with, or sometimes just for some fun. In fact, the real reason too that I do this is because it's also a reference to two really cool things. The first one being from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. If you guys remember, in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he had that really cool picture-in-picture thing, which was set up like a painting. It was right next door to that traffic light just before he gets into the kitchen, and every time that he went next to it, it was always a different painting or a different picture up there, or even just a simple "hi" on there. And that's how we would watch, like how people make crayons, how people make macaroni, and all sorts of visual things that Mr. Rogers wanted to see us doing. The other reason too, that's also the tip of the hat, if you will, to another YouTube channel called Glove and Boots. Now, this channel has kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit, but this starred Mario the Mario and Fafa the Groundhog, and in every single episode of their series that they did, they always had a different male actor behind them in the picture. They had people like Ronan Atkinson, who was Mr. Bean. They also had Will Sasso and a bunch of other people. And then, when they did a Rock Band themed episode for, the game Rock Band, they had a female in there. So it's kind of like a little something between the two. Now, I bet you're wondering what the next thing is. How do I go from here to here every single episode? Is it some sort of wizardry? Is it some sort of, movie magic? Is it that I possess, the power of teleportation in some instantario? Nah, it's nothing special. It's just this. Here, I'll give you a little simulation. So, let's head over to the red board right about now. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm ready. There we are, back in front of the red board. And hello, Mr. Foxy. You know what? I know you like to teleport quite a lot. You see? So, you guys kind of saw how I do this, but we do a little bit of stuff for the magic of editing. Now, of course, you guys have seen me do for the magic of editing bit there. That usually gives my editor a little time to, have a cut point. And by the way, who is my editor? Well, he's the one that's helping me film right now. Hey friends, it's Arlo the Traveling Nardo here, little brother to Vrchat101. That's right, my friends. My little brother Arlo Fizzarelli, as you guys know as the Traveling Nardo, sometimes helps me to film these. In fact, he's actually my camera guy whenever he's not traveling. Isn't that right, Arlo? You bet your boots I do. I enjoy filming Vrchat101 with my big brother, because you know what? He does the same thing for me. He's also my camera guy whenever we film the Traveling Nardo. And he and I have very similar takes of where all the camera placements are. And you know what? It's fun because even I get to learn stuff about myself, especially when it comes to, mental health things. Right you are, little brother. And there's one other thing, too, that you do, too, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So now the other thing is this. As you can see here, we got Mr. Foxy over here. In fact, Mr. Foxy, let me go ahead and pick you up right here. Oh my goodness. Oh, you are getting heavy. I don't know if it's because of all the chimkin treats you've been eating, or if it's because that you are just such a furball. So this is Mr. Foxy right here. Now, Mr. Foxy is the mascot. He's my little pet, and he has been in almost every single Vrchat101 that we have done. He sits right there behind me on his little piano, and the reason he does it is because he loves to hear me say my things, but also he wanted to be in the shot as well. Because here's the thing. When I first found him here on this world, he was very, very timid. He was very, very timid, and then as the months went on, he slowly started to grow more attached to me. And he also loves his Uncle Arlo. I know you do. I know you do. And so, he loves to sit right there, too. Because the other thing as well, there's something rather interesting about this. Let me go ahead and put you right back right there. Just above me is actually an air conditioning vent. So when the AC kicks in, it blows some very cool air, and he loves his cool air, which is really cool. And the other thing, too, is that he fetches my pens right here. So this is where I usually keep my pens. I always keep an eraser, and I always keep at least 4 pens. Why, you may ask? Well, the thing is that depending on what the subject is, I want to make sure that I have at least enough pens just in case I want to color code stuff. So right now I have a blue one for blueberries, a white one for white chocolate, and a green pen for guacamole. And I end up using those colors the most here in the show. Now, of course, every single Vrchat101 can go on for, quite a bit of time. But here's the funny thing, though. Writing the stuff on the board, after I say through the magic of editing, takes a little bit of time. However, when we cut that out, we can save us a couple of minutes. As a matter of fact, here's a clip from one of the more recent Vrchat101s that was not edited, so that way you guys can see how long it takes to write down the stuff that we need for the episode. But as you can see, there's no more room here on my whiteboard, so through the magic of editing, we now have our next subject, which is actually the last subject of this video. Pretty cool, isn't it? So we cut out a lot of those parts. Now, of course, if we start to run out of space here on the red board, then we'll flip-flop to a different location. And the other thing, too, is that we'll also use the entirety of this floor space to kind of help out with filming. Now, once filming is done, it's time to do something really, really cool. And for that, we're going to head back into my office. Once the episode has enough footage, and we feel like that it's good to edit, we bring it here to my laptop. And once we come in here, we use Wondershare Filmora to help us edit this. Now, editing can take a very long time, depending on the subject material and depending on how much stuff that we actually do. But the other thing too is that there's also another person who helps me out with the editing, and he's the same guy that also helps with the camera work too. Right you are, big brother. I also help him edit, and in return, he also helps edit with my series too. In fact, we actually go back and forth. When we're here at my big brother's place, we tend to have sandwich makings and other sorts of things that kind of like keep us going. So sometimes we'll be editing stuff for like hours on end, trying to figure out, where everything's supposed to go. But when we do it at my place, I tend to order a pizza. Because, okay, big brother, don't we usually perform better whenever we have, like, pizza at my place? Truth be told, you're absolutely right, Arlo. You always like to order the pizzas, but, who could blame you? We both have fast metabolisms, and I'll tell ya, pizza from that one joint in Darien is always super delicious. Heck, Uncle Bones also orders from there too. So what we will do is that we will make sure that we edit each other's stuff equally. Now, why wouldn't we just stay in one location? Well, there's a good reason. See, Arlo has a lot of filming equipment that he keeps over in his house, and I do too. So that's why what we often will do is that we'll bring the equipment over to here or over to there. It really just depends. Because you know what? This way, me and Arlo can, spend some time together. Because I'll tell you, with Mr. Foxy, I love him to death, but he kind of keeps me here quite a lot. And that's also too why we often get people like, Uncle Bones or maybe, Bunny D. Colette or somebody to babysit Mr. Foxy, so that way I can come with you on some of your missions. Yeah, that's right, big brother. It's a shame that Mr. Foxy can't go with us. However, if he did go with us, I think we'd be more interested in him and be playing with him, and we wouldn't get any footage of any of the places that, I go to. And the really cool part, too, is that whenever Big Brother comes to see me, it's always a lot of fun. Because not only do we, enjoy some pizza, but we also get to play on some of the gaming consoles I have. He also has a couple of gaming consoles, too, and we tend to still, play some of the ones, like, on the PlayStation 2. Like, I think we still play Star Wars Battlefront 2. The good one, that is. That's right, little bro. But not just that, you also have let me into your sim rig as well. And I've also watched you do your races and stuff. Dang, you're fast. And then once the episode is all, rendered and, edited together, we then render it, and then it's ready for uploading. So, within a span of just a few days, we're able to put up Vrchat101. For Arlo's series, The Traveling Nardo, it could take weeks to, put everything together, because sometimes we have to look up, more facts, or we have to go through all the footage and, figure out what to leave in and what to leave out. And I'm here to tell you something. Between the two series, a lot of things for Vrchat101 are really just kept in. There's only a handful of things that we have removed because they just didn't fit the topic, or maybe they just didn't work at all. But you know what? The next time you watch another Vrchat101, then you're gonna have a grand old time as you continue to watch and see just how cool a lot of these things are. I hope you all enjoyed that little behind-the-scenes look at how an episode of Vrchat101 is made. It's very similar to the way The Traveling Nardo is made, but the only difference, though, is that we often film on location, and in some cases, I start editing on location as well. Because, I don't know if Arlo is going to talk about this in an off-duty episode, but I tend to bring a small editing equipment box that I can set up anywhere and edit the pieces down, so that way when we fly back here to the States and get out at the Baku International Airport at Darien, then we don't have so much work to do, and that also means too more quality time with my little brother, and more chances to mess about with him on the PlayStation or the computer. Can you tell that we're basically gaming brothers? But that's gonna do it for this episode of Vrchat101 Behind the Scenes. If you guys would like to see more of these, and I know you guys want to, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to comment down below, but also subscribe, because at the time of recording this, I'm still on the hunt to 400 subs. And if we get to 400 subs, I'm not sure what we're going to do. I know that I'm not going to show my Nardo butt to all of you, so people keep it in your clothes, bucko. But I'm sure that we'll figure out some way. So, for my little brother, Arlo Pizzarelli, I'm Vrchat101, saying so long, and as always, take care.